What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports, back again with another one. Congratulations to Devin Haney, the new WBO welterweight champion. Put on a sensational performance versus Brian Norman Jr. He was able to drop and badly hurt Norman Jr. in the second round. He was able to show his dominance skill-wise, boxing IQ, and he even outpowered the guy that everybody thought had the power advantage going to the fight. Brian Norman Jr. did not fight the right fight. Everybody gonna get hit is boxing. He got hurt in the second round. Give credit to Devin Haney for setting that shot up and executing it and getting that boy on the canvas. Give him credit for that. But after he got knocked down, what you gonna do? You could come back after knockdown. That's just one round. But he got up and started swinging for the fences. You can't do that with Devin Haney. You're not gonna land one shot. You got to come in behind the jab. Come with pressure but behind the jab. Implement your physicality in the fight. You almost got to make this a borderline dirty fight. That's your only way to beat a Devin Haney. Come in behind the jab, double up on the jab, stab jab to the body to stifle the movement of Devin Haney, and then try to get off your shots once you're there. But you can't just come in loading up on one shot. He was falling in too much. He got to work on some things, man. I advise him to bring in another trainer alongside his dad, Brian Norman Sr. I'm not saying get rid of Brian Norman Sr. because he's done a great job, getting his son to this point. But even Bill Haney has had other trainers come in and work with him. He's had Mickey Bay come in and work with him. He's had Joe Judah come in and work with him. That's Zab Judah's dad. I think that Brian Norman Sr. and the team need to think about bringing in another set of eyes, because I think Brian Norman Jr. has a lot to work on. He needs to work on improving his jab. He needs to work on his combinations. He's got to work on his head movement. He's got to work on setting up shots. He's got to work on feints, because all that was brought to the table by Devin Haney. Devin Haney even won the power matchup. He showed more power than Brian Norman Jr. Who would have thought that going to the fight? Everybody thought that Brian Norman Jr. had bricks in both hands, that Devin Haney would be running and trying to stay out of harm's way, but he came right to Brian Norman Jr. Fought him in the mid-range. He went on the back foot, and he was able to fight smart, fight discipline, understand that he's been on that big stage before, and this is Brian Norman Jr. first rodeo. All that came into play, and ultimately was the reasons why Devin the Dream Haney is now 3-time world champion. Champion at 135, undisputed to be exact. Champion at 140, and now champion at 147. He gets one more title in another weight class. It's a wrap for the Hall of Fame. He's definitely be Hall of Fame bound, in my humble opinion. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Devin Haney, beautiful jab, beautiful footwork. He ended up dropping him with the punch that Brian Norman Jr. brought to the table. That was his signature punch. That was his best weapon. You putting something on your opponent's mind when he coming into a fight. You saying his best weapon is his left hook, and your best weapon is a jab, but you knock him down with a left hook. So he played on his psyche with that shot. He was hurt bad. He like, damn, that boy dropped me with a hook, man. That's supposed to be my punch. That's supposed to be the punch I'm gonna win the fight on. That's gonna be the punch I'm gonna put him out with. And he got dropped, and he was hurt bad. So I think Devin Haney, made a point to catch him with that left hook, to set that left hook up, to send a message not only physically but mentally to Brian Norman Jr. So just a great masterpiece, masterful performance by Devin the Dream Haney. I got it wrong. I had Brian Norman Jr. stopping Devin Haney in the 11th round TKO. You gotta love TKO. Oh no. Yeah, I had him stopping him in the 11th round TKO, but it didn't happen. It was a 12-round unanimous decision win for Devin Haney. I don't know what that one judge was looking at, had it 114, 113. I don't know what fight he was watching. That boy must have been asleep at the wheel. Ain't no way in the world you can score that fight 6-6, because that's what it was, 6-6. 114, 113 is 6-6. The knockdown make it, the 114, 113, but it's basically 6-6. And Devin Haney won that fight off the knockdown in the second round. Besides that, it was a even fight. I didn't see that fight that way. I had it 8-4 for Devin Haney. I could even see 9-3. I know some people got on Twitter saying that they had a 10-2 Haney. I think that was a little bit extra, but I can see 10-2 better than I can see 6-6. That's for sure. Ain't no way in hell that fight was 6-6. It was 8-4, 9-3. If you giving Devin Haney pretty much all the swing rounds, you know, you see it even 10-2. That's just what it is. 6-6, that's crazy. That's after 9, after 10, after 11, and after 12. That's crazy. But give Devin Haney his credit. And at the end of the day, all three judges saw it the same way, saw the same winner, and he wanted unanimous decision to Devin the Dream Haney, as his father liked to call him, Debo Haney, once again proved that he's the top dog in that division. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Top dog in multiple divisions. Let me correct myself. He ain't like he became two-time welterweight champion, but he proved that he was the top dog at 135, being undisputed. Proved he was the top dog at 140, beating the top dog at 140 at the time, Regis Prograves. Well, maybe you could say maybe Teofimo Lopez. Was he the champion? No, I don't think he had beat Josh Taylor at that point. I got to go back and think about it. Was it Josh Taylor, Teofimo Lopez fight before Haney fought Regis Prograves? Because Josh Taylor did beat Regis Prograves. So arguably you could have said that, you know, he maybe he was not the top dog when he beat Regis Prograves, but he definitely beat Regis Prograves more decisively than Teofimo Lopez beat Josh Taylor. Both fights were clear winners, but Devin Haney didn't lose a round to Regis Prograves. Teofimo Lopez, he lost a round to Josh Taylor. Even though he won that fight, like the first 4 rounds, it was like 2-2, I think, the Josh Taylor-Teofimo Lopez fight. And then Teofimo took over. But, yeah, Regis Prograves didn't win a round. So, you know, you can look at that, and then, you know, you can believe that that victory, he showed that he was the top dog at 140. If not 1A, 1B. Them were the 2 top fighters at that time. Teofimo Lopez and Devin Haney. Devin Haney was trying to make that fight happen. Instead, he ended up taking on Brian Norman Jr. because Teofimo Lopez blatantly ducked Devin Haney. Let's not forget that. And when is this Teofimo Lopez? While I'm there, let me stay there for a while. While I'm there, when is the Teofimo Lopez Shakur Stevenson fight gonna get announced? God damn, they've been talking about this fight is done. They dotting their I's, crossing the T's for the last month. And ain't nothing official yet. So what's going on? I'm hearing January, but I'm hearing about other fights getting announced, but nothing officially announced for. That's crazy. Teofimo Lopez versus Shakur Stevenson. Do I think it's going to happen? Yes. Do I think it should have been announced? Yes. Do I think it might be something holding it up? Obviously, it's something holding it up because it ain't been official. I think it's going to happen, but maybe they're trying to get the undercard good, and they're going to announce everything all at once. Maybe that's the case, but, you know, I don't know what the holdup is, man. I think if I had to guess, if I had to take an educated guess, I think they're trying to see what, you know, they're trying to get Netflix to pick the fight up. I think they prefer the fight to be on Netflix. If Netflix don't pick it up, it's going to be on the Zone. But if it's on the Zone, it could be on pay-per-view. You know, that's the only way, you know, Teofimo Lopez will have a chance to make the money that he wants, taking a chance with a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, and vice versa with Shakur Stevenson. Make the type of money that he would be expecting fighting a guy on the level of Teofimo Lopez. So I think that's probably what's holding the fight up. They're trying to get Netflix to put the money up for the fight. If they can't do that, I don't think Netflix is going to pick that fight up, actually. Netflix like to put up fights like with big names. You know, Mike Tyson, Jake Paul, Anthony Joshua, Floyd Mayweather Jr., Manny Pacquiao. They did pick up Serrano and Taylor, but that was the third fight, all-female card. They want to put on big events. They're not just going to put on fights that, you know, the hardcore boxing fans are excited about, but the casual boxing fans might not be that excited about. And Shakur Stevenson and Teofimo Lopez, who are 2 of the biggest names in the sport of boxing, could fall under that category. It's one of the fights that is kind of big. You can see Netflix picking it up. They picked up Serrano, Taylor 3. They picked that up. They damn sure can pick up Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson. But those girls had already put on 2 epic performances. That was the third fight they picked up. It ain't like they picked up the first fight. They had already showed themselves to be a big matchup. And they was, remember, that fight was on the undercard of the Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson fight. And that was the best fight on the card. So they had that kind of like fight, the second fight, to kind of give them a jump start at getting the attention of Netflix, and Netflix ultimately picked up the third fight. Shakur Stevenson, Teofimo Lopez. A lot of people think that's going to be a boring fight. A lot of people think that's not going to be exciting. They think Shakur Stevenson is going to box Teofimo Lopez ears off and make it a boring, unanimous decision victory. And maybe Netflix is looking at that as well. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Devin, the Dream Haney, is the man at 147. Who will he fight next? I think he needs Ryan Garcia to beat Mario Barrios. That's a 50-50 fight. You got two C-plus level fighters fighting. One guy off Austin Ring looks very average. The other guy is the weakest champion at 147. Just ain't on a high enough level, in my opinion. His skill set is very average in Mario Barrios. But Barrios come to fight, and he's very consistent in his style. So you're not going to have the up and down type of performances like a Ryan Garcia. So it's a 50-50 fight. That's a hard call to make. But if Ryan Garcia is able to win that fight, that makes for a big matchup with him versus Devin Haney. That's Tupac Shakur versus Biggie Smalls. Those guys are arch enemies. They've been fighting since the amateurs, 3-3. That's Ali Frazier. You know what I'm saying? That's Ohio State versus Michigan. That's a rivalry. Probably the best rivalry in boxing. So when those two guys meet, it's always going to be a great battle. Throw the records out the window, so to speak. Throw what happened last time, even though Ryan Garcia was on PEDs, throw that out the window. He's got that left hook that could give Ryan Garcia, could give Devin Haney problems. He's more twitchier than Brian Norman Jr., got more speed than Brian Norman Jr., and if he ever develop his right hand, he'll be hard to beat. That should be what he'll be working on in the training camp in the lead up to the Barrios fight. If he's able to develop that right hand and make that a weapon, because a lot of the top opponents, they're going to take away your left hook. When you get to that top level, fight guys like Haney, Shakur Stevenson. You saw Tank Davis. Tank Davis took away his left hook, and he didn't have nothing left. Didn't have nothing for him after that. Basically, it was a punching bag. Didn't have nothing for him once he took away the left hook. So Ryan Garcia, hopefully, is working on his right hand. He was able to beat Devin Haney with the left hook. But as we know, that was an Ostarine-affected left hooks that he was hitting Devin Haney with. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But Devin Haney, the man at 147, he implemented that Vladimir Klitschko jab and grab style. He's got that blueprint down to a science. Very effective style, but it's not fan-friendly. So he needs certain fights to make the type of money that he's accustomed to make. So I think he needs Ryan Garcia to win that fight. Barrios win that fight. That's a big fight, but I don't think he gets what he would get in the Ryan Garcia fight fighting Mario Barrios. He probably won't even make what he was making fighting Brian Norman Jr. fighting Mario Barrios. Maybe he could do that. That's maybe similar, depending on how Mario Barrios look. That's still a black versus Mexican fight. You know, they always do good numbers, but I don't know if they could put that fight on pay-per-view. We definitely would think that Devin Haney versus Ryan Garcia is a pay-per-view fight. Just like how they trying to do the Virgil Ortiz versus Bruce Ennis fight. They believe that's a pay-per-view fight. You got two of the most contributing fan bases in boxing. You got the Mexican fan base and the African-American fan bases. Those always produce great fights when those two fighters from those two cultures mix it up. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard Briscoe. Follow me on TikTok at JB Sports. New media, follow me on Twitch at Briscoe MA77071. Follow me on Instagram at JB Sports 9707. Follow me on my YouTube channels at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend 8000, and at JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend 9656. And like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.